Yep, because they were just both constants. If you wanted to, you could have brought the negative and put it right in front, and it would be the same answer. All right, any other questions? All right, I'll leave that up for a few more seconds. Alright, so now we can move ahead to dividing our rational expressions. So for dividing rational expressions, you want to kind of think back to the rules for dividing just regular plain old fractions. Okay, so remember the steps for dividing fractions. Okay, so the first step, you're going to write down the first fraction. Okay, now your second step, you're going to change your division sign to multiplication. Okay, so you want to change that division to multiplication. Then your third step, you're going to flip the second fraction. So you're multiplying it by the reciprocal of the second fraction. So you just flip the second fraction and multiply. So, for example, if we use this on just a regular ordinary fraction, so let's say if we wanted to divide 3 over 5 divided by 10 over 2. I know that's just 5, I just made it 10 over 2. Okay, so the first thing you do, you'd write down your first fraction. Okay, so that's your first step. Your division would change to multiplication. That would be your second step. And then you just flip the second fraction. So instead of 10 over 2, it would be 2 over 10. Bless you. That would be your third step. And then you just multiply it across. So you have 3 times 2 over 5 times 10. Okay. So you can simplify it here, or you can simplify it after. Probably easier to do it here. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So that leaves us with 3 over 5 times 5, which is 25. So you're going to do the exact same steps when dividing rational expressions. All right, leave that up for a few more seconds. Looks like everyone's done writing. Okay, so let's say, for example, you wanted to divide 3x to the third over 40 divided by 4x to the third over y squared. Okay, so remember, the first thing you want to do is convert it to multiplication. Okay, so to do that, you write down your first fraction, 3x to the third over 40. Step 2, your division changes to multiplication. Then your third step, you just flip the second fraction. So instead of 4x cubed over y squared, it becomes y squared over 4x to the third power. And then you just multiply it like we've been doing before. Okay, so 3x cubed, you can make that 3 times x cubed times y squared over 40 excuse me, times 4 times x to the third. Okay. So for this one, the only thing that cancels out are the two x to the thirds. Okay, so that leaves us with 3 times y squared. So we have 3y squared over 40 times 4, which is 160. Yes.
Maybe I'm thinking of something else, but you know when it's like cross canceling?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why don't you just do that with the 3x and the 4x? Or, never mind, I don't think it makes sense.
Oh, we did do that with the x to the third.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. You just broke it down.
That's all. I know if you can do it before that
Okay.
and it works, you're more than free to do that. Okay. Any other questions? All right. So let's say for our next example, excuse me, we wanted to divide x plus 2 squared over 10 divided by 2x plus 4 over 5. Okay, so just like before, first thing you want to do, convert it to multiplication. Okay, so we write down our first fraction, x plus 2 squared over 10. Change division to multiplication, and then we just flip the second. Excuse me. Okay, so now we just have to factor and simplify. Okay, so x plus 2 squared, that's just x plus 2 times x plus 2. Over 10, we can make that 2 times 5. Okay, times 5. And 2 times x plus 4, we can factor out a 2. Oh, should have made that x plus 2. So now we cancel. We have these two. And these two cancel out. Excuse me, give me some water here. Leave that up for me. I gotta get some water. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Hour number 3 of me talking loudly. All right, so we have our x plus 2. Everything else canceled out. And here we have 2 times 2, which is just 2, well, 4. And that's our final answer. All right, any questions on that one? All right, I'll leave that up for a few more seconds. Okay, so let's now start with a problem where we divide 2x squared minus 11x plus 5 divided by 5x minus 25. And we want to divide that by 4x minus 2 divided by 10. Okay, so just like before, the first thing you want to do is convert it to multiplication. Okay, so we write down our first fraction, which is 2x squared minus 11x plus 5 over 5x minus 25. Change our division to multiplication, so that becomes multiplication, and then we flip the second one. So instead of 4x minus 2 over 10, we have 10 over 4x minus 2. So now we have to factor each one of those and see what cancels out. So we can go ahead and do that on the side. So 2x squared minus 11x plus 5. Okay. It's not a perfect square trinomial, so we're going to have to use the a times c method. Okay. So if our a is equal to 2, our b is equal to negative 11, and our c is equal to 5, then that means our a times c is going to be 2 times 5, which is 10. Okay. So that means we have to find two numbers that multiply to equal 10. And those same two numbers add to equal our b, which is negative 11. So for this one, -10 and -1 looks like it works. So you have -10 times -1 is +10. And -10 plus -1 is -11. So it works. So we know with the A times C method, we replace that middle term with those two values. So that would give us 2x squared minus 10x minus 1x, or if you flipped it the other way, it would work too. Minus 10x minus 1x plus 5. Okay. So now we have our 4 terms, so we just go into the factor by grouping. So we turn those 4 terms into 2 smaller groups and make that 1 look more like a 1. There we go. So for 2x squared and 10x, you can actually factor a 2x out of both of those. So we have our 2x. 2x times x will give us our 2x squared, so we put our x there. And 2x times -5 would give us our 10x, so we put our -5 right there. Okay. Now for these two, you can factor out a -1. -1 times x would give us our -1x. And -1 times -5 would give us our +5. So we put our -5 right there. And we have our matching binomials. So we just factor that one right out to the front. And you can cross them out if you like. And whatever's left goes into the other binomial. So you have 2x minus 1. Okay, so the rest of them factor out pretty easily. 5x minus 25, we can factor a 5 out of both of those. So 5 times x will give us 5x. 5 times -5 gives us our -25. So that one factored out pretty quick. And our 4x minus 2, we can factor a 2 out of both of those. And 2 times 2x will give us our 4x. And 2 times -1 will give us our -2. Okay, so we're good on all of our factoring. And if you wanted to, you don't have to, but if you wanted to, you could factor the 10 to just equal 2 times 5. Because we know that when we factor out a 5 here, we're going to want to cancel it out. So this is one of those you can if you want to kind of things. Okay, so that means this, we have our 2x squared minus 11x plus 5. We know that's x minus 5 times 2x minus 1. Our 5x minus 25, we know that's 5 times x minus 5. 10, we can just make that 2 times 5. Or you could leave it as 10 and just cancel out any way you're comfortable. And 4x minus 2, that's 2 times 2x minus 1. Okay, so now we just start canceling stuff out and see what we're left with. So we have an x minus 5 here, and an x minus 5 there. We have a 2x minus 1 here, and a 2x minus 1 there. We have a 5 here, and we have a 5 there. We have a 2 here, and we have a 2 there. So we are left with 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 over 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. So that whole thing just equals 1. I say those type of problems always bug the